One of the most pressing concerns for parents today revolves around the question, how do I keep my kids safe online? And as a fellow parent, I completely understand. It's our responsibility to keep our children safe while they grow and explore the world around them. But here's the thing, it's not just our own backyard anymore. With advancements in technology, parents now have to protect their children from the entire world. And the internet can be a dangerous place for adults, so it's absolutely terrifying to imagine the dangers that our kids may face in this digital jungle. But don't worry, I have your back. I've seen firsthand the hazards that leak on the internet, and I'm here to share these insights with you. From cyberbullying to online privacy, by the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge you need to ensure that your little ones are as safe as possible while navigating the vast online world. Make sure to check out the video description to see the best way to keep your family protected. But now let's take a closer look at some of the risks our children face and what we can do to keep them safe while they're online. It's no secret that our children face some pretty serious threats every time they go online. And while I was mindful of the most obvious ones, there were some things that even I hadn't thought about until I explored this topic more fully. We're going to discuss all of them in this video, but right now I want to talk about one of the most important things we can do to keep our children safe in the digital world, and that's communication. Seriously, one of the best ways to protect your children is to simply be involved in their online activities. I'm not suggesting you go full-blown spy mode, sitting in a van outside and spying on your child's every click. That would be excessive, right? Instead, simply encourage your kids to talk to you about what they're doing online. Ask questions like, who are they talking to? What are they doing? And which websites and apps are they using? And prompt them to come to you with any questions they may have as well. Keeping that line of communication open allows us to stay aware of what our children are doing while also empowering them to make good, safe choices. And you know what? It's never too early to start these conversations. In fact, the earlier you start talking about this with your child, the easier it will be as they get older. Because, let's face it, having this talk with a teenager isn't exactly at the top of any parent's to-do list. So how can you approach this sensitive topic? As I already mentioned, start early. Explain to your child that just like in the real world, the online world can be dangerous, and that rules and boundaries are there to help keep them safe. It's also important to set boundaries while maintaining a non-judgmental tone. Explain that these boundaries might be different in other households, but that following them keeps everyone in your family safe. Finally, arm yourself with the knowledge to be a truly savvy online guardian. Stay informed about the latest apps, trends, and potential risks because you can't protect your children from what you don't know. And remember that Tide Pod challenge? Yeah, not our generation's finest moment. Now, as important as it is to talk to your child, communication alone won't always keep them safe from inappropriate content, because even innocent searches can bring back not so innocent results. And once your child sees something, they can't unsee it. In a perfect world, parents could watch everything their children do every minute of the day. But we don't live in a perfect world. In between work, errands, and the beautiful chaos of family, it's impossible to monitor everything your kid's doing online. But luckily, parental controls give you the power to do just that. With the simple click of a button, you can regulate the type of content that your children can access, manage their screen time, and safeguard their personal information. It's like having a digital shield that puts you in control. And the good news is that most devices come with a generic set of controls that you can access through the device settings. So whether your child's using a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer, you can customize the settings to fit your family's needs. Most web browsers also offer their own set of parental control goodies, like Google's Safe Search feature and Firefox's family-friendly browser, which both block inappropriate content from appearing in the search results. And you can usually turn these on with the click of a button. And here's a pro tip. A lot of people don't realize this, but many of the apps we use today ask for access to things like our contact list, our location, and even photos. Fortunately, you can usually go into the settings and choose what you want to share with the app. So it's always a good idea to keep a close eye on the things that your children download to ensure that they're not sharing anything you're uncomfortable with. But if you really want to take your monitoring game to the next level, I would recommend looking into an identity theft protection program that offers family protection, like Aura. Aura takes parental controls to the next level by offering parents a range of powerful tools to help keep their kids safe online. You can monitor your kids' online activity, block inappropriate content, and even set limits on screen time. Oh, and did I mention they have a super cool feature that allows you to pause the internet? Yeah, pause the internet. I don't even have to tell you how handy that can be. Another great way to keep your kids safe online is by teaching them to share responsibly. Did you know that approximately 97% of the kids between the ages of 13 and 17 use at least one social media platform? That might not seem like a big deal until you realize just how much information someone can get from a seemingly harmless post. Think about it. That vacation picture you shared just told a handful of criminals that you're not home this week. And that dance video that your kiddo filmed in your front yard, it just gave predators all the breadcrumbs they needed to find you in real life. Pretty scary, right? To make matters worse, some platforms even share tracking information with friends, allowing them to see exactly where you are at any given time. Luckily, there are things you can do to protect yourself from cybercriminals, and we're going to talk about that more in a minute. Kids who use social media are much more likely to become victims of cyberbullying. Bullying is never okay, but cyberbullying is especially insidious because being behind a screen emboldens people to say things that they might not have said to a person in real life. Plus, they don't have to face the normal consequences that come with bullying. And the worst part, because it's all online, your kids end up carrying those bullies with them wherever they go, making it nearly impossible to escape from the harassment. So what can we do to keep our kids safe from these digital dangers? First things first, be open and honest with your kids about cyberbullying. Have a conversation about what it looks like, the emotional impact it can have, and how they can respond to online harassment. Or rather, not respond, because actively engaging with an online bully almost always makes it worse. Once your child is old enough to understand, talk to them about the ways that bullying can impact their mental well-being and how important it is for them to reach out to someone they trust if they ever find themselves being harassed online. It's also important to talk to your children about how their online reputation today could impact their future tomorrow. A good rule of thumb is the grandparents' rule. In other words, is this something that you would want your grandparents to see? If the answer is no, then you probably wouldn't want your future boss or your coworker to see it either. And most importantly, help your kids understand the golden rule of social media. Think before you share. Teach them to think critically before sharing anything online and ask themselves, who's going to see this? What message does this content send? And what information could this post unintentionally share with strangers? Now, I know what you might be thinking, why not just ban social media entirely? Problem solved, right? I think most of us would agree this is a tempting solution. But experts argue that banning social media might not be the best move. Because whether we like it or not, social media is here to stay. And think about it, shielding your kids from social media will only work until they're old enough to access these platforms themselves. So it makes sense that teaching them the skills that they need to navigate this online environment would work better than completely sheltering them from it. But how do we do this? Well, for starters, educate yourself. Because the best way to defeat an enemy is to know it. While most people are aware of the obvious risks, there's a whole world of hidden dangers that you might not be aware of. These include issues like depression, peer pressure, body image concerns, and grooming. And since adults aren't automatically immune to these issues, learning about them can help protect yourself too, which in turn protects your kids. Once you're fully armed with this knowledge, find age-appropriate ways to educate your child about the dangers of social media. Teach them that what they see online isn't always real, and that people can often put on a show for their audience. Explain that simply putting something on the internet doesn't make it true, and then encourage them to question things that they see and hear online. Ask them to be mindful of their feelings while online, and prompt them to talk to you about how different things make them feel when they see them. Finally, help them understand the signs of depression and anxiety while letting them know that there are people they can reach out to for support if they're feeling a certain way. And if you're not exactly sure where to start the conversation, check out the Smart Talk, an online game created by Norton's LifeLock. It can help you facilitate positive conversations about internet safety and establish healthy boundaries with your family. In addition to education, you should also be aware of the age-appropriate ways that your children can access social media. Start by teaching your kids about social media with a shared family account, which allows them to connect with family and friends in a controlled environment. As your child matures, consider upgrading to one of the various child-friendly accounts offered by different social media platforms. These versions allow you to set parental controls and significantly restrict the content that your child sees. And did you know that YouTube offers a kid-friendly version of its app? So if you have little ones that enjoy watching online videos, you can rest easy knowing they won't be bombarded with ads or exposed to inappropriate content. You also won't have to worry too much about unexpected packages arriving on your doorstep. Yeah, that can happen. Now, imagine this nightmare. You're all grown up, minding your own business, and then bam, you find someone's been wreaking havoc on your identity. They've been opening credit cards, taking out loans, and basically trashing your credit without you even knowing it. And as crazy as that scenario sounds, it happens all the time. And if you've ever been a victim of identity theft, then you already know how emotionally and financially devastating this could be. But the good news is that protecting your child from identity theft is easier than you might think. For starters, keep usernames as anonymous as possible. Avoid using your real name, nickname, or date of birth when setting up accounts. And this applies to passwords too. The key to a good password is to make it as long and random as possible. Mix it up with uppercase and lowercase letters, sprinkle in some numbers and symbols, and voila. You have yourself a password that even the trickiest of scammers would have a hard time cracking. It's also a good idea to change your passwords every few months and use different passwords for each account. This will help protect you in the event that your login credentials are compromised. Now, let's talk about privacy settings. Our social media profiles contain a scary amount of information. Think about it. In a matter of minutes, anyone can find out where you live, where you work, and what you do with your free time. By setting your children's accounts to private, you can control who sees what. And you can also access privacy settings that allow you to control what type of information is collected, tracked, and shared with the various websites and apps. But wait, there's more. To truly safeguard your children's sensitive information, consider enlisting in the help of an identity theft protection program. And don't worry, it won't cost you a kidney or your firstborn. Actually, it's a lot more affordable than you might think, with some plans starting at less than $10 per month. That's less than I spend on coffee every month. Now, I've scoured the digital realm in search of the ultimate identity theft protection solution, and I gotta say, when it comes to family protection, Aura really stands out. They have your back with excellent personal information monitoring, credit tracking, and dark web surveillance. But here's the cherry on top. Their child safety features are simply awesome. And one of the things that really sets them apart from the competition is their safer gaming feature, which monitors both text and voice conversation for things like inappropriate content and cyberbullying. Plus, their family plans include up to $5 million in identity theft protection. And their customer service team is standing by, ready to help you with any questions you might have about your family's online safety. While $37 a month at the time of filming is a great price when you consider all the ways Aura can protect your family, that price becomes even more affordable when you take advantage of my exclusive deals in the video description below. So be sure to check that out. And if you want to learn more about Aura or any of the other identity theft protection programs I've explored, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out the rest of my videos.